I was told a good story recently that I'd like to share. This is something that was told to me by my business partner, who has been a really good partner and friend for many, many years. By way of background, he is one of the most selfless and giving and honest and outward people that I know. He volunteers one night a week to drive an ambulance for the volunteer squad. He and his wife spend a week in Haiti every year with some doctors administering medical supplies to a region that has no medical facilities. He's not a Christian Scientist, but he knows that we are, and he respects that tremendously. His wife's a Roman Catholic, and when he does go to church, he goes to her church to support her. Well, last Sunday, he and his wife were at their summer house, which is out at the end of Long Island on the Long Island Sound. And he woke up and got this message very clearly that he shouldn't go to church with her this morning, but he should go out on the water in his boat. He has a little fishing boat that he loves. And he says that whenever he goes out and on the water, he said that's his time to commune with God. So he wasn't sure why he was getting this message. He wasn't going to go fishing or anything. But he did it because it came to him so strongly that that's what he should do. So he took his boat out, and it was storming. It was windy. The waves were very high. And he was out there, not knowing why he was out there, and he was certainly the only boat out there, so he thought. Well, he didn't go very far before he saw something in the water. And he went over to look at it, and here was a man in the water, waving his arms violently, clearly in trouble. His kayak had taken on water and was sinking. The man had a life jacket on, but he was unable, he didn't know how to swim, so he was scared to death and having great difficulty. So Tom, my partner, went over and pulled him up out of the water. The guy couldn't move, literally, he was so distraught. And Tom pulled up his kayak out of the water and got it into his boat. And when the fellow was finally able to tell him where he came from, he was from Eastern Europe visiting friends in the United States. So Tom took him back to where he came from. He said he had been out with some friends of his in their kayaks fishing, and the storm had taken him away and got lost. And he didn't know where he was, and he couldn't get back. So on the way back, they saw his friends. They waved. Their friends were very, very happy to see them. They thought that their friend was gone forever. So when he dropped the fellow off, the fellow was more than grateful for Tom having literally saved his life. And after Tom told me this story, this was last Sunday morning, he said, "Isn't that the strangest thing? Isn't that the craziest thing?" I laughed and I said, "No, it's not crazy. That's how God works." And I said, "Tom, it's to your credit that God called you to save this fellow, and you listened and obeyed. This would be a very good story for your children and your grandchildren on the importance of listening to that still small voice and obeying it." And then I chuckled and said, "Well, as Jesus said, God made you a fisher of men," which he laughed. But I thought, here's a fellow who is very Christian, lives a very moral life, very unselfed, and very willing to help anybody at any time. And he was obviously the right person to save this fellow, and he got the call and he obeyed it. It is Christianly scientific to listen to that still small voice and obey it, and he did. So I wanted to share this with everybody tonight. There is a God, and he is good, and he does take care of us when we listen. It's great to be here tonight.